Mansfield!
Spoiler warning, I'm going to talk about some storyline elements here. If you don't want to hear them, here's my summation. A good game missing the soul of the original. You can go now. The rest of you, let's continue. I wanted to believe Ni no Kuni 2 was intentionally showing me a world through the eyes of a child, highlighting both the hopeful nature of youth as yet untouched by cynicism, as well as the painful naivety of approaching life with eyes so wide. Turns out I was the one being naive. See, Ni no Kuni 2 is a good game, great at times, but it's also a painfully dumb one, and adorable little usurped king Evan Pettywhisker Tildrum just turned into nature's greatest irritant after not very long at all. How can I be so negative, indeed so cynical, about such a bright game littered with so very much joy? Well, that's easy, I'm a curmudgeon. Beyond that though, there are reasons. Well, there's a reason. There's zero subtlety to the game at all. This impacts on things with me personally because I was a big fan of the first game. I don't like to talk about the previous entry to a series so early on in any review, but then my incredible rules can be bent every now and then, and this really is a special occasion. That being, Studio Ghibli was involved in the original. The story for the game was already written by the time the legendary animation studio came on board, but, and I'm going off second-hand reports here, it was still involved in a lot of story tweaks and rewrites, possibly including major changes to the original's ending. What I'm getting at is that Ghibli had its fingerprints all over the game and it shone through. Level 5 made a superb JRPG and Ghibli came and elevated both its presentation and story to levels we're still not used to seeing in games as a whole, never mind just in the specific genre. The main way I feel Ghibli had such an impact on the first Ni no Kuni was through liberal use of what we call subtlety. There was a knowing nod to the playing audience that what you were playing and watching was a daft little fairy tale, but it was respectful enough of said audience that some things were left unsaid. Some things were approached in a decidedly adult fashion. Some core plot concepts, a grieving child say, were treated in a surprisingly gentle, affecting way. And it's because of all that that my first reaction on thinking about Ni no Kuni 2 is a pang of sadness. Ghibli wasn't involved this time around, and aside from the obvious point of missing animated cutscenes, it shows. It's paper thin, it offers no intrigue or even real heart beyond very base level Saturday morning cartoon level interactions. Oh, the president of this corporate city nation has been corrupted, but showing him 5 recordings of his past when he was nicer will immediately cure him. The party thinks of that plan almost immediately, so surely when it comes to pass, this simplistic childish plan won't work. Surely there's something more to it than that. No, of course not. It works perfectly, first time. Not a hitch. Which is why I'm so readily bringing up the original game, thus going back on all of my own personal rules. I'd be so much more open to a lack of complexity in the game's storytelling were it not for the fact it's a sequel, and I think it's fair to expect on some level more of the same. Ni no Kuni 2 doesn't offer that. It offers a wafer-thin fairy tale with the odd obvious twist thrown in for good measure, a complete lack of real heart comparatively speaking, and a general air of cheapness about the whole project, what with the aforementioned animated cutscenes going bye-bye and voiceovers that only seem to cover a quarter of the game's actual dialogue. Honestly, if I hear "Blimey" one more time, I'm liable to And yet, I really like Ni no Kuni 2. Like I said earlier, it's good, sometimes great. The story, the presentation of that narrative, it being thin ice over a shallow lake, I can ignore it all in the most part because the meat substitute on the fake bones is so good for the most part. I can't think of anything specifically it does that's unique, as I can trace most of the game's systems and micro-features directly back to JRPG luminaries like the Tales and Suikoden series. Is that even how you pronounce it? It's just one of those cases where the derived elements are handled with such exceptional skill in the most part that you don't mind you're playing a best of hits collection for the genre. Your JRPG Skellington is there and in good nick. A party of 3 drawn from 6 potential members, with your main selected peeps leveling up a bit faster than those on the sidelines, and a nice mix of weapons and special powers jumbled up between them all. You've a world map to explore, and yes, you get an airship later on, making Ni no Kuni 2 the closest to a PS1 era Final Fantasy we've had in almost 20 years, and a smattering of diverse, interesting towns and areas of interest to bundle your way through while thwacking creatures on the head and picking up all the shinies encountered along the way. It's a carefully balanced system, expertly made by people who know what they're doing, and set up in that oh-so-gamey positive feedback loop that keeps you playing just to the next town, then just to the next level, then just to the next dungeon. Then Ni no Kuni 2 goes beyond all that and throws in plenty of extra systems and minigames to keep your interest even more than the main bit that's already keeping your interest. You've got a city to build, and sure, it's not the Settlers level of systemic interaction going on, but it is captivating and fun in a way only management games can be. Yes, it's shallow and really just involves waiting until you have enough money to build a new thing or upgrade an existing one, but, and this is because it's not the main draw, it's a great distraction. Ditto the endless, well, almost endless journey to recruit new citizens for your city-state, which takes the form of a hell of a lot of side quests after which you're rewarded with someone who can do one or two things really well. I struggle to describe it in any greater detail because it is so, frankly, basic, but it's satisfying and that matters. You get into little RTS-like battles, which make me chuckle with the whole theme of the game being about building a united nation where conflict doesn't exist, but I've laboured enough already on the story. Anyway, these skirmishes are probably the worst of the added extra bits, with the simplicity not translating to that much fun. It's rock, paper, scissors, the deck's often stacked against you, and the strategy, well, isn't. Still though, it's not the headline attraction. You don't have to do most of it if you don't want to, so it doesn't have a negative impact. It's fun in short bursts, and you only have to do short bursts if you so choose. I can't be mad at that. Cooking and leveling up Higgledies, your little sprite helper friends, isn't as much fun as the mini Pokemon game we saw in the last game, but it's still a rewarding experience. Mainly because the stronger your chums are, the more they help in fights and the easier the main game gets. Again, simple but good. I like the vast majority of Ni no Kuni 2, thinking about it. It's colourful and optimistic rather than grey and cynical like the inside of my head. It brings zero new newness, but what it does is handled with enough care and attention to make it feel fresh. It's not a bar raiser, it could never realistically be described as unique, and Drippy is the far better Welsh fairy when compared to Lofty. Despite all that, it's a good JRPG. Not great, not one to go down in the annals of history, but good. And that's enough for me. Overall, 6 out of 10. Please like, share, subscribe, love me, adore me, worship me, or ignore everything I say, it's all good. Quickly, as this is overrunning the rough 7-minute window, I have a Patreon. If you like this video and the others I produce, it would be swell if you drop anything you're comfortable dropping my way. Links in the blurb, it's all appreciated. Speaking of appreciation, I love my $5 or more tier members because they let me do credits for the names, and genuinely it amuses me messing about with this even if the final cut is usually much more sedate. And of course, big thanks to the higher tier donationists, without whom I would most certainly be on fire in a bin somewhere. Video Brains, or Jake Tucker, Robbie Sabo, Lola Osman, Takara Hoshi. Sincere thanks to you all, even those who aren't mentioned, even those who won't or can't contribute, because you're all hearing this, so have sat through the whole video, or just skipped to the end for some reason, I don't know. Anyway, bye!